Have you ever pondered about the immense courage it must have taken Moses and the Israelites to embark on their journey through the wilderness? Picture this. Under the oppressive rule of the Egyptians, a glimmer of hope emerges as Moses, chosen by God, steps forth to lead the children of Israel out of bondage. The journey, however, was not easy. It was marked by 10 formidable plagues, each more devastating than the last, sent by God to convince the Pharaoh to let his people go. From rivers turning to blood to the death of the firstborn sons of Egypt, these plagues shook the Egyptian kingdom to its core. But the true test of faith came as they stood on the brink of the Red Sea, the Egyptian army closing in. It was here that they had to trust in the promise of God and the leadership of Moses. And then, a miracle. The sea parted, paving their way to freedom. This marked the beginning of a journey of faith and patience, a journey that would test them to their limits. Imagine being in a desert not for days, not for months, but for 40 years. How would you survive? The Israelites faced this exact scenario, finding themselves in a wilderness that seemed to stretch endlessly in all directions. Food was scarce, water even more so. Yet they kept going. But how? They had a divine provider. In the midst of their struggle, a miracle occurred. Manna, a bread-like substance, rained down from heaven, providing nourishment. And when the thirst became unbearable, water gushed forth from a rock, quenching their thirst. Yet even with these miracles, doubt crept into their hearts. There were moments of rebellion, moments where their faith wavered. But through every trial and tribulation, God continued to guide them. His presence was a constant, a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Despite the harsh conditions and their own doubts, the Israelites kept moving forward, guided by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. How would you feel if you were given a set of rules directly from a divine being? Imagine the scene. Moses atop Mount Sinai, receiving a list of 10 commandments straight from the hand of God. It's a moment of awe and reverence, a direct connection between the divine and the human. The commandments themselves, they became the bedrock of morality and law for the Israelites, a clear guide on how they should live their lives. They encompassed everything from the worship of God to interpersonal relationships, setting a clear path of right and wrong. But the influence of these rules did not stop at the borders of Israel. Over time, they would seep into the consciousness of societies far beyond the wilderness of Sinai, shaping ethical systems and legal codes around the globe. The 10 Commandments not only provided a moral compass for the Israelites, but also set the foundation for many legal and ethical systems around the world. What if, after all you've been through, the people you lead turned to worship a golden calf? Imagine Moses atop Mount Sinai, receiving the 10 Commandments, while the children of Israel, the very people he had led out of Egypt, melting their jewelry to forge a golden calf. The irony of the situation is profound. These people who had witnessed miracles, who had walked through the parted Red Sea, grew impatient and lost faith in Moses' absence. They sought solace in an idol, a golden calf, contradicting the commandment they had just been given. "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." When Moses descended and saw this, his anger burned. The calf was destroyed, ground into powder, mixed with water, and made the Israelites drink it as a bitter consequence of their impatience and lack of faith. The incident of the golden calf served as a stark reminder of the dangers of impatience and losing faith. How would you feel if you led a people through unimaginable trials, only to not enter the promised land yourself? Imagine the heartache, the bittersweet triumph. That was the reality for Moses. This great leader who had brought the children of Israel out of bondage, who had received the 10 Commandments, and who had guided his people through the wilderness, did not step foot into the promised land himself. Moses' life was a testament of unwavering faith and resilient leadership. His journey was marked by trials and tribulations, but his steadfastness in the face of adversity is a beacon of inspiration for all of us. His life's journey may have ended just before reaching the destination, but his legacy lives on. He left behind a nation, a people ready to step into the promises of a better future. Moses' journey was not just a physical one through the wilderness, but also a spiritual one, teaching us the values of faith, courage, patience, and leadership. And